There we go. I think we're live now.
Hello. Oh, don't forget the camera.
Oh yeah, so you can see it. There we go. Hello. And welcome to the Resonite Art Team Office Hours. We're here floating out on icy moon. Figured find something snowy for the occasion.
Are my ears sideways?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? We're probably in a weird gravity field.
Yes. We can walk entirely around a small icy moon. That's why. That's why the background is also slowly rotating.
My ears will be broken for now then. They rely on like normal world gravity.
Guess sometime we'll have to update it so it's like local gravity. The way
Mm-hmm.
to do that. I did that with
Yeah.
vehicles and projectiles. So, well, yeah. For those just tuning in, welcome to the Resonite Art Team Office Hours. I'm Aegis Wolf, and this is Rushen of the Resonite Art Team.
See, it's just really windy.
Yeah. It's snowing sideways.
Don't forget,
As
if you guys want to ask a question, go ahead and type it in chat with a question mark at the end, and it will pop up on a little board here for us.
mm-hmm.
We already have a couple.
Gonna quick check something on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Alright. Okay. Well, we do have 3 questions going on over here. I'm gonna bring them up on screen and chat. Let's start with another Noppet from Grand UK.
Old.
What?
Old.
Yeah. Snow, shoveling lots of snow.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with snow where I'm at, but man, I'm used to it being hot.
Hmm. I can get used to the cold, but I can't get used to the hot too much, especially with how much my computer goes. And another question from Grand UK plays here. Does the art team generally work in parallel to the Fruits Engine team? And I think you're referring to the engineering team, the coders. Depends on what is being worked on. If it's something that requires content to be made, say for an example of something, say if it's a new piece of UI, functionality will be worked on first, and then the building blocks will be made for the art team to create content for within the platform.
We do generally both have both teams have their own projects that they're kind of doing. But sometimes we work on the same thing, so it's very fluid. It's not rigid at all, so we can kind of pick and choose what we're doing at any time. So that way things get done fast.
A good example of us working in parallel would be us helping test features. Say if there's a new feature being tested, pretty much some of the people that'll first test things are the team, and then it gets sent to pre-release, and then anybody can really test it at that point. But usually it starts with if there's any content related things that the art team has worked on that relates to updates like that, definitely go through and test it.
we like to make sure the Cloud Home at least works whenever we have any kind of like major changes to things
Mm-hmm.
in the tutorial.
And Hugo551 is responding to me saying it's snowing sideways. I think it's called wind. It's freaking windy, as they say.
It's literally what my character looks like at the moment. Like, ooh.
Wait, Schnappint? I think I may have misread that question that Grand UK asked. Is the opposite of Schnappint? Or
Oh, it's
what?
not int.
I
I'm not
thought.
sure. Is that a double negative?
Is it a double negative? Because I've seen the opposite where it's like spelled backwards. I'm going to assume it's a double negative. Let me think.
Christmas cookies.
Those can be good
Cannot wait
though.
for Christmas cookies. Well, isn't the opposite of snop it good? So
If it was
something
spelled
we're looking forward
backwards.
to? Oh no, it's so confusing.
At least that's what I remember seeing on Frux's stream. But yeah, Christmas cookies does sound good. I remember.
Even they say who knows.
Who knows? Okay, so it could be both. You succeeded, Grand UK, for confusion.
Either way, we got some stuff coming up. Like there's gonna be a Christmas event which Nex has announced. You can find it in the announcements channel, but it's on December 7th, 27th to December 28th. There's gonna be more info coming on that, but right now we just have a date for when it's gonna happen. And before the event, we're actually gonna put this in the essentials. This is just a simple little like gift wrapper machine. There is another one that was built as well by a community member. That one will also be there. So there's variety, some Christmas ornaments and other little doodads that you can use to decorate your worlds. And I believe it's going to be somewhat similar to what was it called? The block parties, which was kind of more festive.
I'm glad I added slight turbulence to the particles. We do have a question again from Grand UK. I'm gonna bring it up on screen here. Which is a follow-up to our comments on the tutorial in Cloud Home. Is reworking the tutorial on the roadmap plan for the art team? Yes. As it doesn't depend necessarily on additional engine features and kind of needs a bit more to introduce new people to the platform. Definitely, that's something what we want to do. Probably one of the things that we'll be adding in the near future. I'm thinking a bit more information about the help tab initially, at least for the current one. But we want to start to make one from the ground up.
There's also the fact that our ideas for a revamp on the tutorial, we want to include more things into it. And some of those things and some of the stuff we want to do actually require features that we do not have yet. That's like a little bit further in the future, where we want to do stuff relating to like physics interactions and like the more gamified tutorial that we've talked about before, that require certain things and interactability to just make building it easier, say like collections or something. Because we can kind of create those things right now, they get very obtuse and very confusing very rapidly the more complex they get without certain like game development tools. So once we can start getting some of those updates in to make, gamifying things a little easier, then we can kind of build more onto the tutorial in a game sense.
There's still ways we can still develop these things. We just have to approach it in a modular sense. Like, we're going to have to make multiple systems over and over again, regardless, if we're going to need to create one. And one way of doing it is making it modular, so we make a system that uses like a workaround to collections. We just make it easy to rip it out, delete it, and put a new one in.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things in regards of baseline of what the rework would be is pretty much taking a narrative approach to like introducing new users and making the importance of user choice as well part of the brand new user experience, where not everyone wants to be like a creative building or wants to engage in the creative aspects of here and just wants to socialize or play games. They can just learn how to interact with things within the engine and start exploring worlds or find populated sessions directly from the tutorial, similar to what we have now, but in a more guided way. As well as for those wanting to delve into the creative aspects, they can select different things they want to learn, whether it be protoflux or components or tools or avatar creation, world creation, etc. And for even things like locomotions and stuff like that, people can learn how each locomotion works. Say, for example, you got, walking, running, you got your teleport locomotion, fly, no clip, 0G, and slide and grab world. Those are a whole bunch of different types of locomotions that you can use within Resonite, and having the ability to just teach each one of them as an optional thing, because of course people aren't going to be in zero gravity all the time. Not everyone can stomach that, and not everyone can even stomach moving around like this in VR. That's just how it is. And even
the concept of being able to switch
around.
how you move isn't even common.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of thought that has to go into it.
As well as things like scaling yourself or scaling objects around you as well too. Like I've been doing with these, how to interact with things with your laser, with physically grabbing things, how tools interact with things, and even as simple as, examples of buttons, levers, sliders, stuff like that would be useful to show not only that you can create things like this, but also what you would expect inside worlds that people make.
Yeah, another couple questions if we want to go to those. Another one from Grand UK. They ask, why doesn't the tutorial come before creating an account?
That is...
Creating an account is a lot easier than going through a tutorial. And you could do it in either way, like at the end or at the start. If we have them make it at the start, then once they go through the tutorial and they start having fun with things and they want to say like save an item or save an avatar, they don't have to really do any other steps. They can just do it right then and there.
Plus, they can access public sessions directly after that too. So it kind of gives them an incentive to stay in the platform instead of just going in as an unregistered user. And
while you can play Resonite without an account, most worlds are set up and hosted as at least registered users. At least if they're like public. Which means that people who don't have an account, who are just trying out the platform, they can't even see those worlds. So it's just better to have someone make an account first and then go through the process.
Mm-hmm. And I have a question from Tam Tam. Would any UI reworks be up to the art team? Like, updating the stream camera interface would be nice. So, yes and no. Like I
Updating
mentioned...
the UI, that's definitely going to be on the art team. But
Doing the back end work, that's on engineering.
That's why I said yes and no, because like half of it
Yeah.
is the engineering team, the coders building the building blocks for us to add the UI elements or the data stuff that interfaces with the things. For example, the settings menu, there's these things called data feeds that are like, in a way, a set of data that, well, it feeds data into an object or a system. And for example, you have like a different data feed of different audio devices that you can pick from to select which one you're using for your microphone or your speakers on like your headphones or computer.
And that data has to be exposed on like a code level for us to interact with it within the platform.
And technically anyone can create their own versions of like the settings UI. It's like kind of like was it back then it was like Windows blinds where you can like change the visuals of windows, like the window borders and everything, as well as yeah, and the start button and things like Linux where you can also customize it as well too. With the UI, if it's built in a way where like us, the art team, can directly build it within the platform, that's really when like a lot of the design philosophy and stuff kind of goes into how it visually works, where how things are laid out, the font sizes, the spacing between the different pieces of the UI, the colors, etc., and even some of the functionality.
When it comes specifically to the streaming camera, it ties in pretty heavily to the actual camera component itself, which also needs a rework. So once we can start doing a little bit more work on the camera component and the like coding behind the UI for the panel itself, then we can start working on an update to the actual UI of it. Right now, I think it's actually still using like the old code generated version, even before we had like the new inspectors. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
It currently does. But yeah, in regards of when a lot of these things will probably be done, it's just up to when like the development cycle gets to that point. Right now it's December, things are kind of slowing down for development for now, as people are having the holidays and taking it easy for the rest of the year. And as Frooks put it in some of his latest videos from the Resonance podcast, pretty much focusing on improving the team's health is going to be the next priority. And to kind of comment on like the idea of his having like a day to experiment within the team, I kind of already do that like every other day or two, technically. I try to get like all the stuff that I need to do done, and then I try to just see what I can mess around with when it comes to components, or kind of just tweak like different settings on a personal project that I want to release to the public when I can. So a lot of the stuff I do is more visual than code, but actually...
Yeah, coding takes quite a while, so for them, like, a small project can take, months or weeks, and, for us, a small project's maybe, like, a day or 3.
Yeah, if it's just the model and, like, some effects, but, actually, I just realized Protoflux also counts towards coding, too, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can take a bit trying to like bug fix things and do things like
At
that.
least for like me, Aegis, and Ryuvi, when it comes to 3D modeling or texturing, we can do that stuff pretty fast. But getting those models set up, getting the programming set up for them, depending on like the use case, that's where the actual like time, comes from, or like the length of a project. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of take the cycle of like a project. You start with what you want to make, and then you. Yeah, my hand decided to just dislocate itself because of tracking. Um,
I blame the wind.
this is too windy. uh, you start with a concept of what you want to do, then you take that concept, you find a scope. When you're working on a project, you make sure not to scope creep. If you have like a lot of things you want to do, you pick out the stuff that you really want to do, really want to prioritize, and then you put the rest in like say future versions of it or so you don't like lose it, and then go through the concept phase. Then you, if you know what you're building, you start modeling, and that's the stuff that would take the least amount of time is like actually building this stuff. Usually, depending on what you're doing, is once you have concepts of something, then you can use those as reference. And then once you do like your asset setup outside of like Resonite, then you do this setup inside of Resonite, and things like lighting, reflection, sound effects, interactables, game mechanics. Depending on what it is, it's like a each segment or phase just takes different amounts of time.
Yep. Like for instance, when I was working on the water park map, um, first thing I started doing was getting like a bunch of references. So for me, I was using the Mystic Springs as a reference at the start when I was first thinking of the idea. Um, and that turned into like, kind of mock Blender model, which let me kind of get like the sizing for everything and, see how big I want it, where I want certain features. You just block it out. So like from picture thought to simple model, and then the idea later on got refined, and I decided to ditch the walls and just go with the grass plains, and then just a lot of rock and water features. And now it's kind of what you see in world today. But this was like the concepting from it. Sometimes you start with a big idea, and sometimes it gets smaller, or sometimes it gets bigger. It just depends on what's going on.
Yeah. A thing that is important to learn when it comes to like designing a project is also what kind of headroom you have in regards of whether it be what kind of the amount of time you have to make these features, the amount of performance, like headroom pretty much, and also the available things, tools you have available at your disposal, and then seeing what's possible, what isn't. When it comes to our projects, say if it's like an official one, we usually see if there's anything part of the project that would be like blocked when it comes to, say, it would need a feature or so. Then we kind of see, okay, would this project still work without those features, or would we have to shelve the project for later? Like, for example, the tutorial stuff that we're gonna do, there's some things that would benefit from updates, even to like its general systems, but there's still ways we can make it exist now. So, and more or less it's just about time and planning right now. One of the things the art team has been working on in the background in our own time has been reviving the Universe project. That's been interesting. Basically, a world that shows the scale of the universe from subatomic particles to the observable universe,
Mm-hmm.
and anything in between. I gotta finish
Did we go over that last question? Actually, I think we missed a couple.
Oh. We
Yeah,
do
do that one from
have
Grand UK
two of them. This one from Grand UK. Would the art team find any benefit of a desktop basic avatar maker that outputs a Resonite package base, as in bare minimum for avatar requirements to be met in basic texture work, not any extra components or flux?
I mean, anything kind of like that just helps. I mean, most avatars work for desktop anyway, unless there's some kind of like VR specific controls. Uh,
They're
but like,
talking about is a external program, I think. Like a avatar maker of sorts. Right? Like, the in-game one is set to be improved as well, so it's easier for both desktop and VR. So you wouldn't need a separate program, but eventually things like Brooks wants to make a kind of like a universal SDK system so that you can use any kind of external engine to interface with Resonite would be like another way of doing it.
I think a good way of doing it is if you could somehow incorporate a pre-made Resonite package of a like basic desktop avatar, and then have the program just kind of like, you know, change aspects of it and then export the package. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do, at least in my head. But the nice thing about Resonite packages is that they can preserve things like proto flux and customizations. And if you're going to have a desktop avatar, you probably do want to add some of those things to it. That way, it's still, you know, basic and people use it, but it has quality of life features that maybe people build into. Like, for instance, whenever I'm in desktop mode, I have my avatar set up so that if I double tap space, it puts me in kind of like, you know, Minecraft creative play. And, you know, there's just other little things like that that you can do for your avatars for desktop mode specifically to just make it easier to use.
And if, in regards to like the art team benefiting from it, we're probably more or less gonna use still the in-game tools more than an external editor if it existed.
Yeah.
As part of our like job is also to see if there's any ways that we can find, or anything that we can find ways to improve the in-game tools. It's best for us to note it down ourselves as well too, not just those in the community creating GitHub issues or finding ideas on how to improve it. Because like if we focus like development on external tools, then there wouldn't be really development going on the in-game tools, and the in-game tools won't be as good as the external tools, as no time was put into that. That's why like Fruix had the idea of having like a universal SDK based thing that other people would be able to basically input in the community and help build these tools for other platforms if somebody wants to use Unity or Unreal Engine or Source Engine or whatnot to interface within Resonite.
I will say, just because there's a little bit of an additional context given to that question, about like hand alignment, that is, it's confusing, and like I'll say that right off the back, like it is confusing, and it will probably be updated at some point. But for right now, depending on how many like actual bones your fingers have, I think Resonite expects 3 bones per finger. If you have 4 bones per finger, it can get confused about like the hand and the wrist and all that. It just can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe if you set the last bone in the finger to no IK, it should fix those alignment issues.
I don't recall
If
off
you
the
have 4
top
bones
of my
or more.
head.
Because I think that was something that happened with my avatar, like because my fingers have 4 bones in each finger, and they would like pop in with my wrist backwards.
Oh, um, there's a way to uh, like reset the bone or reassign the bones manually in here as well after you create the avatar. So that's
Yeah.
also a way to kind of diagnose those kinds of issues and fix them like in Blender afterwards, but also fix them in here so that you can use it right away.
If you do notice that your hand like isn't set up in the thing, or it says like aligned hand, it means that the automatic thing that sets up your wrists and hands like just didn't find the right components or the right bones. So sometimes changing the name of the bones, especially like looking at the wiki, checking the names for those things and seeing what to properly name them as, and using no IK where it should be, can help can help the automatic system figure out where to place things. Because it's heuristic. It's not like it's not like super complex, but yeah.
It's good habit to name the bones as well too, even if some places don't require naming your bones and you just assign it manually. If someone else is going to work on that avatar, say if you're avatar creator, you don't name your bones, people aren't going to know what bone is what, and it's going to get confusing for them. Especially if they're setting it up for a program that does search for their bones, bone names.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Bone Lab or Gmod or here, where it requires like getting the names of the bones, and you may have to change the names of them for each like setup or engine. And I'd like to also again state that like the avatar maker currently within Resonite is still subject to change and updates and such. So
Yep.
I believe there's a whole thread on that with the GitHub issue on improving it or updating it. So if you have any feedback, I recommend seeing if if there's any that you can like provide in there. Because even if there's a future request, you realize, oh, it's already there, so I don't need to add anything or add a feature request or bug fix or whatnot. It's still good to comment on it because there's more perspectives, more feedback, more different ideas about how to approach this specific issue. And yeah. Hopefully that helps answer the question. We do have another here from Tom. Speaking of small projects done for fun, how do you come up with ideas, or, well, narrowing the idea down to actually be small? Well, that's scoping a project pretty much. If you have a project that you want to do, you see what you can accomplish, you see all the ideas, or are you referring to ideas of projects themselves? Well, you also,
Hmm?
if you're referring to like the projects themselves, then it's like also seeing what can be possible for each of them, and then which one you're most likely wanting to do, even regardless of the scope of it, to the least. It's best to like see what kind of things you can make and want to make and compare them.
I think for me, like at least when I'm thinking about um, the project itself, you mentioned like whether it actually being small or not, right? It depends on what small means to you, right? So if you want to make a map that is extremely performant, then you can think about how many things you can have in there before people start having issues. Or if you want to make a map that is small in size, say for like I have a personal project I'm working on where the map size is small, but the content in that map is going to be like quite extensive. So small is a very relative term, especially when you're like thinking of fun stuff to do. But when it comes to like coming up with ideas, honestly, I just kind of think about what I want to do in here, like what would be fun, and I make the thing that I would enjoy doing. You got to be the change you want to see.
Yeah,
So if there's
exactly.
a game you want to play and it doesn't exist, then you can make it. That's kind of how I go about things.
Especially even if it's something that, like, you don't see that often or don't see anymore. You can, like, try to revive it in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The,
Me and A just wanted to drive cars, and we were like, well, there's no cars. I think this was like years ago. We were like, well, we'll just make a car ourselves.
Now I'm making a hover bike. Which is getting closer to being done. I'm just working on a generic vehicle system. Actually, speaking of, not vehicle system, but racing system. Speaking of systems, that is one thing I learned too about, like, game development. One thing is good to start off with is seeing what kind of games you'd want to make, and then see what things are shared between them. If it's a racing game and a combat game, they might share a leaderboard system and a vehicle system. So you could probably work on the systems first and say if it's a vehicle combat game, you need projectiles and a health system. So you make those. Or if it's an exploration game, you have like different interactables. You make like templates for these different interactables. And you can use them for pretty much any other project you want. Especially in Resonite, you can just spawn out anything from your inventory in worlds that you have, the permission to. And say if you're working on your own world, you take like a system from one world and put it into another world you're making, and it saves you the work. Even if you're Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you don't even have to make it look good. Like when we were making some of the like systems for a project like that needed a health system, we just took at the time when we were testing it in like an arc mesh and just hooked it up to the number value directly. Like, we didn't have to do any fancy UI, just set it up just so we could see the changing values and get like a kind of rough model. And you can kind of mock everything up with that and then come back and start changing stuff to make it actually look nice. Once you can confirm everything kind of works, you can then build up from there.
As they say, form follows function. It's a good thing I like to go by. You make the stuff that is required and is working, or needs to be working, and then you make it looking good and like more polished based off of what you already have. That way you have something that is form fit. Some people do form
Like
over
this little thing.
function.
A little turret. This is for like a game that I was making before. I mean, a little bit. There we go. And it's literally just like super white box kind of setup, just to test out different like control schemes for different modes, desktop, VR, stuff like that. It doesn't even really work that well, but it's mainly just kind of to get people used to using it or trying it out. It's just a bunch of spheres and boxes, and I just parented some guns to it. Like that's all it is. But that kind of helps you formulate, what you want it to be later on. That's at least my process for it. There's a little camera, like, to showcase the viewpoint and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, we have another question as well.
This one is from Modify ARG. How are the Sporter end credits generated? I noticed they haven't been updated since 2023. if I recall, they were at the time manually put in, so a automatic system would have to be done to make it more like easier for us to update it and probably see which tiers would probably work to be displayed and whatnot. It's more or less kind of like a team discussion thing to figure out what's going on. I believe that's something that probably would be discussing our next team meeting.
I think it might actually be a little bit harder as well because we're trying to move away from Patreon. So now we have people through Stripe
And Patreon.
So we need to like compile the list between those and different tiers.
I think it's already unified under the hood.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think we have to really worry about like Patreon versus Stripe. It's just more or less a automatic way to update those because they're already, well, we unified the Patreon badge to be a supporter.
No, the end credits, not the one in here, because the one in here should be working fine. One for the stream is static though.
Yeah, the stream one we want to update. The end. Oh, yeah. when you exit the game,
Oh, that one. Sorry, there's like 3 of them. I mean, that one should be working. It's just using the same thing as the scrolling one, I believe.
The one in the exit screen should be updated, but the one that is the one on the stream, it definitely needs an update. The streams they refer to, not the one in the exit screen of Resonite.
They do say it's the one at the end of the streams.
Yeah.
Right. There's like 3 supporter credit walls. Or probably more, I don't know.
But yeah, it's definitely something we want to update, so yeah. We do have a question here from Satan Dub. What do you think about calling the cat's avatar standard? Do you endorse people to use it?
I've not seen it.
There are plenty of avatar like standards within Resonite. It's more or less which one you think would basically work the best with them. With Call the Cat, they do a modular approach similar to how my personal avatar works, where you have modules that you can install on your avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So it is something that's good to have, because you can have a version of your avatar that is lightweight with least amount of stuff on it, and then one that has pretty much everything, so you can just choose which one you want to uninstall and save as an avatar. So, and
the thing I would always recommend is, like, at least from my personal kind of opinion, is to keep things as similar as you can to how Resonite already does avatar hierarchies, at least for the hierarchy itself. Like, you can move things around or like rearrange things with protocls, but if you keep like the body meshes under the centered root and the armature there, and kind of keep things where people expect them to kind of be, then it makes it easy for people to make custom content that can interface with people's avatars more globally, rather than just like say only a select set of avatar standards, and it just makes it more unified. Like what Aegis was saying, taking a modular approach, you can still do that. I would probably keep things just like under the avatar root itself. That way, it's not like lost in the hierarchy of the armature and stuff like that. Like the protoplex for my ears and my jumping and stuff, it's all in a container that's just under my avatar root, rather than it actually being like the protoplex of my ears being on my head or stuff like that. It's just easier to find too if you do it that way. That way, if you want to like upgrade your avatar later on, you can just open the root and it's right there.
For me, I have like modules that I can install just by eating them. Like for example, clothing. Like I was just swapping between my 2 outfits that I have so far on this avatar, and I can just uninstall each individual one and then just install another and it will just automatically equip it. And the only thing that's on the actual modules are the different references to the bones that they are part of.
Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways for people to set up avatars. They're probably all going to be different. I say just use whichever one you feel more comfortable with. If it's a completely custom one, like definitely feel free. There's nothing that says you really have to stick to one or the other.
Yeah. And if you want something performant, I would recommend something modular. What was that?
What?
It was something that just bounced off in the background. That was interesting.
I don't know. Probably meteors.
Yeah.
We got about, I'd say, 8 minutes left. So, go ahead and send in your questions. And it's Satan. Yes, that does work somehow.
Yeah, I have a Stargate sound on my nose. If I press it, there's a chance it would play.
There's a bunch of sounds on your nose.
I do not have enough mana.
Well, I don't have enough. I'll never have enough.
And it make you like a mana potion. Y'all have any last minute questions? Go ahead and shoot them over. And I hope that everyone is having a good December. Hopefully people are getting ready to make some Christmas cookies, and at least if you celebrate, or visiting family. Staying safe. It's very icy out there and cold.
This was Satan's question. Yeah, it definitely does work. I don't know how you do it. Well, actually, no, I know. There's different, what was it, ASCII characters. Upside down characters are a part of it, too. That's how you're able to do this. And also the cursed text. I remember learning that I can, like, input, like, really cursed text into Blue Sky. That was funny. That's when the splitting was around, so it's like, the splitting is nigh.
There's
And it
also
was
a
like
couple font chains that like you can use that kind of like you can just stick them together. Doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, you're right, because I've seen like what was it, like the calligraphy like fonts that I've seen people do. But it's like actual text as well, which is pretty neat. Of course, things like Greek characters and stuff like that. I once debated to myself to see if I want to use the AE character on my avatar for Aegis, but it'll be harder for people to search my name.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, you can put it on your name badge. That way, it would still like show up. But
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is algo text. This is it shows up in here too. Absolutely cursed.
when we updated to like, actually no, this was not even an update. This was like when we went to Resonite and we were thinking about like theming and stuff, like the kind of identity of the platform. This is like branding, colors, logo. One of those things that we also thought about was like font, and we actually went and like got the fonts that we're using and the rights and stuff for them. We made so the font that you see in Resonite, say like the one that is on most things, like the inspector on the UI, that is like a style that we actually chose, and not just like a generic font.
It
there
also
was even thought put into that.
it also has been set so that there's fallback fonts for different languages if the font doesn't have that compatibility as well.
you can customize the font in your world by editing the font chain.
Mm-hmm. You can make
That way
it
it'll just show up
anything.
everywhere.
You can it'll show up in your radio menus. It'll show up in your inspectors and probably even Protoflux.
You should show that real quick, because like I always love showing this off. Here, you can use this one. Like, put that so we can make inspectors. Halo font.
Smith POV. Let's can you bring wingdings as well?
Oh, wingdings? Let me see if I have wingdings.
Let me just go to object text. This is the fastest way of like changing the font of the world. You just get a regular text here. You get this font here, font chain. I'm gonna click that, and I'm gonna just take this, grab it, boom. Now everything is that text except for well, my personal
Like
UI.
radio menus.
Yep. Actually, I'm gonna make this even better. Hold on. Hold on.
If I open another inspector, oh, it didn't change the inspector one. Did you change all of them or just the one?
Okay, I think it changed that, but I'm gonna see if I can get the... It used to.
Well, there's multiple. I think you have to change the
Punching.
fallback as well. Yeah, there you go.
And then
If
probably
I generate
new.
another... Well, I guess it's protected now, because there was a thing where...
The title isn't.
Yeah. I think it's still that you can still use inspectors, because before it used to like change it no matter what, and it would just be like insane.
Oh. Yeah, let's make this completely readable.
Also, I think it's a version of Poppins, but it's just like what I was saying is that it is something that we specifically like pick out and isn't like just kind of, you know, something that came with like Unity engine or whatnot.
Good luck understanding that.
A style choice.
Oh, it doesn't even have all the font forge or font stuff set up. Dang it. I'll just use a pixelated or kind of terminal
Unfortunately,
font.
my fonts folder has been like, I had two of them. One of them was like a community-based one, and I think whoever was running the community-based one like never migrated their account, so the folder's just like empty.
Now, to put in a cursed one. Ah. There we go. Every capital letter. Oh, this is actually
I'll
pretty
try this
neat.
one.
Because, like, every capital letter here is one font. Then it falls back to a different one.
The Minecraft one is fun, especially if you're making like Minecrafting worlds or importing one of your worlds via the Minecraft importer. What's the font format? I'm actually not sure about that. I think it's just this whatever the standard like Windows font format is. So any font that can work on Windows should just work on here. But don't quote me on that.
Fancy handwriting.
What's the file type for them again?
Could be like multiple different types. There's OTF and TTF that are supported.
This one is OTF, at least in here.
Yeah, both of those are supported. Okay, this one might be even better in regards of readability, as I say that sarcastically.
Yeah, TTF files.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's completely readable.
Oh my
Completely legible.
goodness. The hieroglyphic inspector.
Glitch hieroglyphics. I can undo it. There we go. Now it's the chicken fajitas font. I love the name of that. That's funny.
What's the,
if I recall on the wiki, it actually goes over the different file formats you can import, not just fonts, but anything else that we support. At least this world isn't going to be saved, so we're having the chicken fajitas font. At least until you change it.
Oh no! Open the root. Kill it.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I wanted to open this one. There we go.
Well, that's the header.
Yeah, I was trying to just double check which one's using, and I wanted to find like the content. This one.
Oh my god.
Oh, this one's a big one. Oh no. Yeah, text. There we go. Okay, so which font chain is this using? Yeah, replace all of those.
Okay. Let me get another one. Another cursed one. Give me a moment.
We're just having fun at this point. Probably end the stream soon as well. Because it's getting about that time. So if you have any last minute questions while we're messing around, feel free to drop them in. Don't mind going over. I can't grab this anymore.
Uh-oh. Alright, let's make it completely
This one.
legible here. There we go. I replaced that one, and then I'll replace... Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh
There
my
we go.
god!
There we go.
There we go.
Well, I love this one right here. This is that's pretty good.
Let's make it circles. Oh man.
I like how it puts the name of the other fonts in that font.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, thankfully this is still legible. I
Somehow.
was slightly worried, but it has its own font chain, just in case.
But yes, you can customize worlds like that. Sometimes it's fun if you want to make like a very custom experience that has themed fonts for things. You can even do it on the component level, like if you have UI, you can change it on just that one thing, so that if you have like a radio menu, you could have a different font for each button, stuff like that. It's pretty neat.
At least the camera UI is also unaffected too.
Yep.
Alright.
But we'll probably end it off here. Slightly over, but it's fine. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch this over to at least the legible font. Somewhat
You can do that.
legible.
Oh, I thought that was Forerunner text.
No, it's slightly like it, but no. It's one of my name tags. Actually, is it the same font as my name tag right now? No.
They say woo. I say Bork.
I say Bjork.
I hope y'all have a good time. Make sure to take it easy, stay safe, stay warm, and watch out for ice.
Yes. Well, take care.
Bye-bye.
We'll be around the same time next week. Bye-bye.
Yep. Wee.
Whoa.